podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This week on Sosbans and Sidesteps, we review the entire 2025-2026 season, pick our best and worst performances, and look at possible fixes. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Sosbans and Sidesteps podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, the one and only Huw Griffin, Mr. HG Rugby, and Jon Newydd. Good evening, my friends. How are we?
Hot is how I am. I'm hot.
How hot is it with you guys? It's like 30 degrees here. How hot is it with you?
Officially 32, but it feels hotter than that. It's one of them where you step outside, you think you're going to burst into flames.
Not bad. I think it's around 27, 28 by me, so not too bad. Not too bad.
I got the curtains open for the first time in forever because I can't. It gets hot in here. This is my fourth podcast of the day, by the way, so I know.
What you need some of these Central European metal shutters that you can put down on your windows, because it is, I'm going to say in here, it's about a lovely 18 degrees.
Oh, that's nice.
So I work with a lot of Romanians, and because like in Bucharest and stuff, it gets to about 40 in the summer. And so I was like, oh, so it's not so bad what we can't cope with. And they're like, no, here it's different. Your buildings are not built for hot weather. No, basically Britain shuts down when the number goes above 30. Just forget it. If you ever wanted to conquer Britain, like Napoleon, Hitler, should have just waited for it to be a hot day. And then, like, no one's putting on army gear in plus 30.
It's a good point. I think it's all to do with like the insulation and everything. So, but yeah, everything here is designed for it, and even more happily designed for it. I have a very nice drink that I'm going to enjoy with my World Cup 23 bottle opener, which is the worst bottle opener I own. So I expect it to go very badly.
Is it magnetic?
That's a nice one. Yeah, this doesn't do anything. I'm going to have to properly pop it. There we go.
So for audio listeners, I was showing Jon Newydd my elephant bottle opener, which was a present.
Elephant bottle opener is very good.
You sure it's not a zebra one from, the Champions Cup media room or something?
I'm sure.
This is mine. It's the worst bottle opener I own by far.
These are mine.
Audio listeners, he's holding up his
hands.
All the way.
Fingers all the way, yeah.
This is not a very nice beer. I'm not going to get it again. This is the cheapest lager beer that Sainsbury's do.
That looks like a sweaty Betty.
It's called Saint-Sauveur, I think is how it's pronounced, brewed in France. It's 3.4%.
That's water.
It's it comes in a pack of 6 250ml bottles for £2.50, and it tastes of absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
well, I have. This isn't even beer. This is a lemonade that's made by a beer company.
Ooh.
And it's so good, and it's like beer flavored lemonade.
What is it? Früh Sport.
Früh Sport, it's called. So like sport. Früh is the German word for early, but it's like a really popular beer brand around Cologne. And Sport meaning you can drive if you drink this, I think is the literal translation. But yeah, this has been keeping me going all day. Sport water. No, I think sport water is another word for vodka around here.
Fair enough.
Oh, it's nice though. No, nothing with you, Matt?
No, we've gone from alcoholic to soft to poor. Nothing. Yeah,
nothing to drink.
No, I've had a few dandelion and burdocks today, so I'm good. Good. Gorby Bar, best one going.
I haven't had dandelion and burdock in yonks. I think I was talking about working out a plan to go visit my grandparents in Llanelli in a bit, and I think that's the main drink of choice down there. So
it is nice. You gotta find a decent shop. I'm trying to think of what used to sell it.
I had one at the garden centre a couple of weeks ago.
think the range used to sell them. I think you used to get them in the range in Trostra.
This is a good middle-aged man conversation.
Where
Where do you
can
buy
get? Where do you buy your dandelion and burdock? Let us know in the comments.
And did
What
you
a
also
weird
have
thing
a
to
nice
say out
one?
loud.
Did you also have a nice one around the garden centre?
I'll tell you
Let us
what.
know.
Becoming an adult, it's like, when do you know you're an adult? And becoming an adult is when you go to the garden centre at your own free will and say, I think we should go to the garden centre, and then you do. And then you walk around the shop at the garden centre, because obviously they just don't sell flowers, and you say to yourself, there is a very reasonably priced range of craft ales at this garden centre. That's when you know you're an old man now.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone to a garden centre of my own free will. I mean, my wife will tell you it's been of my own free will, but yeah, nah, I'm not. I'm not quite there yet.
When you go to one of the people, you go, I need a plant, and they're like, what plant? You're like, I don't know.
Okay, so we have promised to talk about some form of rugby because this is supposed to be the season review. Yay!
Yeah,
So,
I'm incredibly enthusiastic about this one, I have to say.
yeah. So
The worst ever season for the Scarlets.
the worst ever season a Llanelli-based team known otherwise as the Scarlets has ever had in over 150 years, and I genuinely believe that's factual. Like, I can't think of a worse. Well, I obviously can't think, but you have a wee look online, you go through the history. I don't think there was ever a worse season. Like, obviously, I know you've got to add the caveat, we're not playing only Welsh teams or a couple English ones, blah, blah, blah. But it's just been terrible. The rugby's been shocking. And just a hard year, you know? But we can somehow find a way to be positive at the end. So let's get through the shit bit first. So, shit. How we actually feel? Like, I'm really relieved the season is over. Are you boys feeling the same?
Pretty much by the end of it, it had gotten to the point of, for God's sake, the Scarlets are playing today. Like, it had gotten to the point of not looking forward to watching my team play. And once, I think, what game was I like, it's over? It was I think it was a good, what was the game before the Zebra game?
Connacht.
Connacht away. Was it Connacht away?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the rescheduled round 2.
Was it Edinburgh? Yeah, I think it was Connacht away. I was like, that's it. It was just waiting for the season to be over now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before that was Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And even though we lost that one,
which we shouldn't have.
No. I was pretty enthusiastic after that because of Kaz's performance in that game. And then all the joy got sucked out of that with the Connacht game immediately afterwards. Yeah.
I kind of get there. So we're getting a bit of ahead of ourselves at that point there. So let's go back to the beginning. Before we were filled with such doom and gloom, we had an opening block of what was supposed to be 5 games. Obviously, the aforementioned Connacht game postponed in round 2. But opened the season with Munster. Weren't a terrible performance from my recollection.
Bombed a couple of tries, could have been very different.
So, wasn't the worst start, should we say? I mean, based on Munster in previous seasons, that could have been a bit of a beating. So didn't go too bad. But I think the next actual game we played, the Stormers. So 2 consecutive games at home, yay. And this is one of my contenders for worst game of the season. Because I hated this game so badly.
You can't be getting nilled at home. I've said this about other teams, so I've got to say it about the Scarlets as well. And nilling at home should be an automatic refund to everybody who attended. You can't. It is unacceptable to be nilled at home. Doesn't matter who you are, who you're playing against.
And this was also, this was the beginning of Hawkins at 10 as an experiment, right? He started this game at 10, I think. And 10, yeah, and Sammy came on 50-ish minutes.
I think Sammy got
minutes?
injured in this game. I might be confused with the...
You confused
Munster won, but
because he played the next game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was Hawkins' first run out for us.
First, I want to make sure that first competitive run out. He played in the SRC warm up game.
Did he play at 12 in the Munster game?
yeah.
Yep.
He did he? Yeah. So this was his first. Yeah, there he is. He played with Joe, all Joes in the midfield, Hawkins and Roberts. And then, yeah, the Stormers. What time did Sammy come on?
Not early enough.
I think he got knocked out when he came on as well. Let's not go into depths of every single game, eh?
No. But that really felt like it set a negative tone for the season, I suppose, that Stormers game.
It weren't just that, because obviously we started the season needing to loan in a hooker. Obviously, Kirby Mail, answered the call. But obviously, by the time the Connacht game, but the Stormers game came around 2 weeks after the opener, Marnus, Fletchy Warthog was back, and then Harry Thomas was just nowhere to be seen. We stuck with Kirby as the bench hooker, so that didn't, fill us with much confidence of who our third choice hooker was at that point. And of course, we'd started the loan signing of the Locks because Steve Cummins was on the bench for this game.
Was it for this game Steve Cummins was on the bench for?
Yep, this was his one and only appearance for us.
Yeah, he came on
his one and
really
only appearance
early
this season. Because I think he left the Dragons before the end of the season, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but was it Lousy and didn't Tristan Davis start?
Tristan Davis and Max Douglas.
They both got injured against the Stormers.
Yeah.
Tristan came off in the first half. Yeah.
I think he might have just got broken by the Stormers pack. I think he just broke. One of them got a rib injury. I think they just got broke. So yeah.
That was just
It's worth remembering in this game, that they did get we had 2 yellows, they had 2 as well. And so there were periods where they were down and we couldn't.
This is one where Tame Plumtree got sent off for being on the receiving end of a fight.
Yeah, someone who was it? Went to fight him, and yeah, he didn't really retaliate fully, but it was like, hey, you should have let it go. Yellow card. It was yeah. That set the tone for Tane's season as well in a way.
Yeah. And then straight after that, we had it shouldn't have been too hard based on last year's finish, but a South African tour where we went to see the Lions and the Sharks.
I don't remember anything about the Sharks game. I do remember that against the Lions we were okay, but it was also the Lions' first win of the season.
I mean, it was pretty early, and we were, I suppose, the other thing we didn't touch on there was obviously we had the Connacht game moved, which was a bit of a problem, and obviously threw us out of step.
Obviously, the boys have been on the plane for a million years as well, going to the game.
And then they've immediately come back, and then they've had to get on another plane to go to South Africa. Sorry, no. They've had the Stormers, and then they've had to go over to South Africa afterwards. So, and
I mean, I can't quite remember what the injury was, but Jake Ball was meant to start in that Connacht game, and then just wasn't available for how long was it? Till that second South African game down, against the Sharks. So maybe that had an effect there. Obviously, Hawkins was meant to have his first start at 10 in that Connacht game. So obviously, a few things didn't exactly go as planned. Would we have been nilled if Hawkins had, let's say, another 55 minutes under his belt?
That wouldn't have made no difference.
Might have got 3. We might have got 3.
No, Joe Hawkins average. Well, maybe because Joe Hawkins averages 3 points a game, or was it 2.5?
Not good.
So,
yeah. Okay, so that South Africa tour. I mean, the only thing that I was very annoyed about at the time was the fact that Johan Nicholas was named at 15. And I can remember thinking at the time, is this still the state of where we are, that we're still playing Johan Nicholas, and I'd be no disrespect. He's been a great squad player for us, but we hadn't even looked at Jack Davis in the senior squad properly at that point. He had a good game or two. I think it was the season before. Tommy Lewis is also an option, and it just hurts. Just hurts seeing some of these. But yeah, what was that? That's Groves and Coxon had their first game against the Lions.
I remember Coxon was good against the Lions. That's basically on the back of that game that we decided to keep him.
We played lousy at 6 for what I think is the only time this season, and possibly the only time I can remember him ever playing at 6 for us.
In the Sharks game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, even the score lines weren't that bad, 29-18 and 29-19. So, kind of respectable going to South Africa and getting us. We should have been doing better based off the season before, but going 0-4 or being 0%, let's say, in that first block is not where any of us thought we would be after that quarterfinal against Leinster.
No, exactly. And it's just another... It's been a trait of the Dwayne Peel era, is horrendous starts to the season. Like 1 win in 5, no wins in 4.
Just not good.
Yeah. Well, we kept depending on how you want to count Connacht, we kept the 1 win in 5 theme going, because when we came back from, well, obviously after South Africa, there was the international pause. Yeah. I suppose that was the end of the first block.
Well, yeah.
There was a Harlequins friendly as well.
The Harlequins friendly.
Well,
but
I didn't look up the Harlequins friendly. I'm just putting that out there right now. I didn't do my due diligence on that one.
But I mean, one sec. I just want to count. We had a 28-man squad for the Harlequins friendly, and it is notable because one person put the Scarlet jersey on for the very first time, and it wasn't until this final round that he didn't wear it on a given game day, and that was Fletcher Anderson. And I think in this game just exactly showed who we had signed, because he was tremendous, even though it was a friendly. And again, the scoreline didn't exactly help us build anything forward. He was absolutely amazing in this game. But it was quite interesting to see some of the players that we, did actually put out. Obviously, Dan Gemin had he's left now, but he had an appearance against the Lions. We put him in at lock with Sam Lowsey, which that's the scary proposition. Kai Jones, who was a kid who we're hoping would be a lock. We're waiting on his height, see if he grows a little bit more first. Ben Williams, another who's gone. Ocean Williams, who should have been debuted in Connacht, then should have been debuted against the Dragons and just never came on. So it was kind of interesting. We didn't, probably stick a few boys in here to give them a proper opportunity. Front row of Matthias, Harry Thomas, and Holson. Great to see Harry in there. But, when you're second row of Lowsey and Gemin, I mean, we more or less went at as full strength as we could, which I get it to a degree, but, I wouldn't see that as the point of some of these friendlies. I would have expected a few more of the first teamers on the bench and a couple of the upstarts. But
I suppose the logic at that point is we're 4-0.
No, I understood it.
0-4 rather. Like, and the feeling is at that point it's we need to somehow find some kind of spark of anything, because at that point the attack wasn't really what we'd scored 21 points, 18 points, 19 points, 0 against the Stormers. Yeah, I mean it didn't improve much for the rest of the season, but the attack was clearly not working very well at that point.
And it gets worse. So, but then we had the Glasgow win, 23-0, 26-0, 23-0,
23.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I remember I wasn't able to watch that game, and I got home with like 5 minutes to go, and I checked the score, and I remember putting in the group chat, "Is this happening? Is this right? Is my BBC Sport app working properly?"
Yeah, this was the start of probably the only good, what was it, 4, maybe 5 week period in our entire season, because that game was just a masterclass in defense, and Sammy was, outstanding the way he ran absolutely everything. And Jack Davis starting at 50 and Yori Badam, Yori's first competitive game for us on the left wing against Glasgow. Okay, you may be reduced without your internationals, but you're talking, one of the Scottish sides. They're never ever weak. So it was a tremendous victory, and one we sort of built on. I mean,
Because it was then into Champions Cup, wasn't it?
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Bristol at the Park
Should
on a
have won that
Saturday
game.
night, 16-7.
That was the one where Peel substituted Sammy on like 55 minutes, and Sammy was coming
Yeah.
off the pitch like,
What's
I'm
going on?
coming off. And then just went to shit.
But that's a theme that we saw all last season and the season before with Johan Lloyd. He was dependable with his goal kicking. He could do so much, but when you're in the thick of a game, it's literally one score, and anything is gonna make or break. You don't take Sammy off, and I thought we would have learned that at this point, but obviously not. So what could have been it could have been a completely different season. A few little decisions,
We absolutely should have won that game.
I mean, this is still Johnny Williams is starting at 12, and Hawkins is coming off the bench for Sammy at that point. So it's
Johnny Williams and Eddie James in the center. Double Joe on the bench. On the bench? Bench. Yeah, said that ID. I mean,
yeah, it's still that point where not through injury or anything, we're just trying to force Hawkins into a 10-shaped hole, and that's
because those two games, Glasgow and Bristol, that was the first time we had a proper pack out, 1 through 8 of fully an actual 8, an actual 6, an actual lock, in each position, and experienced, and obviously Sammy at 10, in behind with Cowdo at 9. I think it was Eddie and Max for Glasgow, Johnny and Eddie for Bristol. I mean, the great squads. And then the Bordeaux game. Okay, as one-eyed as I may be, I know we were never going to win out in Bordeaux. But we made. Christ, it looks ridiculous now. 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 changes, like man for man in the 15. Then 1, 2, then 3 positional changes as well. 2, 3.
gosh, I'd kind of forgotten that we had such a change side for that.
It's been a nightmare all season. We'll come on to it later in the pod.
Well,
but
that was the start of it.
Yeah,
because we saw the exact same thing the following week. But on the Bordeaux game, I didn't think he was anything overly wrong.
I thought it was okay. I was gutted because obviously I was there. I was gutted that we didn't come away with a bonus point. Thought we were unlucky not to get a try bonus away from a Bordeaux, which would have been good.
And it would have been a better scoreline than the actual Champions Cup final if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it finished, and the first Cardiff game. I mean,
the Cowdor fixture, as we just have to call it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember how I was feeling at the time, but I don't know if you boys come up. But I don't think I was happy.
No, you weren't on the pod that week, and I remember because me and John talked about it, and then you gave us a bit of a hard time in the group chat because you said that we were shit in the game and you didn't go in on us hard enough, and we were like, "Oh, we won a game, Mark." But you were right; we played badly, and this often happens in our games against Cardiff, where we play badly and win, and it papers over cracks.
Yeah, but that was literally how many more wins did we have after that? Was it just Zebra? Oh no, the infamous Ulster game that we'll come to. But yeah, like that was our second win of the season. It was a shit performance, probably compiled with,
God, it's mental that you say there was only 2 wins after that, and one of them was Zebra at home.
Two draws and 2 wins. But yeah.
Jesus.
I'd rather not talk about the draws.
We're gonna have to talk about them.
We have to talk about the fog gate. That was the best bit of the season.
I mean, okay, the entertainment value, yeah, that is up there. But okay, Cardiff win, done and dusted. Shit performance, but over the line thanks to Cowdo with a try double, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, Eddie James with the first try as well, banging. And then came Boxing Day, biggest crowd of the season at home, over 12,000, and that's all.
I don't actually remember anything about this performance particularly. I think it was a very standard kind of Ospreys performance where they don't really do anything and somehow win. That was their first away win of the season. I think that might be their only away win of the season.
I just remember the first 10 minutes. I just remember us having so much dominance in the first 10 minutes and just attacking and attacking and attacking.
Didn't we have a disallowed try?
Yeah.
Well?
Oh no, disallowed try at the beginning of the next game, I think. Maybe at the start of this one as well, but the main thing I remember from it is similarly to the second Ospreys game, it felt like they just needed one chance. I mean, what they scored? Did they score 3 or 4 tries in this game?
There's 26, so I think 4.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 not converted. Wait, was it? Oh, sorry, no. 4. Well, 1, yeah, 1 not converted. And yeah, but it's the Yestin Hopkins try at the end, while Douglas is off. That was the brutal one at the very end. This procedure is awful. You're right. This is the worst season we've ever had. This is real grim.
And it doesn't get better, which is the worst thing about it, because fast forward another five days, and obviously you were in attendance for this one.
Yeah, this is the only game I haven't watched twice from the whole season. Is the away game to Rodney Parade on New Year's Day, and all I can tell you about it really is I quite like the atmosphere down Rodney Parade if it's not a Scarlets game. If I'm just in the area or something and I can't get so far down west, I've sometimes popped over for a game. And like Dragons fans are very loud, very aggressive. And the worst thing I can say about this game is how quiet it got by the end. Like, obviously, after the final whistle, and fireworks go up and everyone gets a bit louder again and there's a bit more of a party, but it felt like it was dead by like 50 minutes. And we were just watching the Dragons go through the motions. It was it was such a depressing game to watch live. And it was unfortunately the only one I got to go to this season.
Weren't just live. I have no comment for this game. I'd like to remove it from history, if possible.
It was one of those games. Honestly, I would put this game up there with Black Lion. It's second only to Black Lion for me, because it was just that level of. I was watching this out on the pitch. I was like, what's going on? Why are these players who I know are good playing terribly? Why do none of them look like they want to be there? And then the thing that kind of sticks with me most with this game is when the camera cuts to Dwayne Peele and he's by himself, just looking like
defeated,
looking like he's a man who's done, who needs to be carried down from his seat, honestly. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, I can't imagine it being worse than this. When was it, in the last 10 years, how many teams have scored just 5 points against the Dragons?
That'd be a good start to look up, and I don't want to know the answer to it. So we saw the beginning of the end of Dwayne Peele as the solely responsible person for rugby matters at Parker Scarlets.
I don't think he's done a press conference since.
He
He's
would
done
have
one interview with S4C,
Oh,
but I don't think
he
he's
would
done a press conference.
he would have done one with Poe for the
Yeah.
following week. So obviously back into Europe then, and it wasn't exactly what do you call it? Right and a wrong sort of
The first
performance,
half
but
was
it was all right.
embarrassing. First half an hour was embarrassing. We got back into the game, and we had a good kind of beginning in the second half. But I lost my head in this game. I remember this is one of my moments because I think we were like 3 scores down, and I think the only way that we looked like scoring was a maul try. And I was like, what am I watching? This is not the Scarlets that I'm watching. Like, our only way of scoring is through maul tries. And because it was a joke Poe team. It was their Espoirs. This was the only game that they won in the Champions Cup. And I was just watching us not even able to attack against them. And when we got back, even when we got back into it, I think we scored 2 more tries. And even when we got back into it, I was like, this doesn't count. This isn't my team that I'm watching here. What is this? So
The 38 points we got, because I believe we were leading 38-31
yeah,
or something like and at that point I thought, okay, not too bad. Obviously, like you said,
I
it
think
was a
Dan
shit
Robson
start.
came off the bench for them and basically won it for them.
Oh yeah, everyone was lauding his performance for the entire time he was on the pitch.
Yeah, and I went back and rewatched the game, and that's accurate.
Yeah, he was very, very good. Also, a shout out for Carwin as well. Tuipulotu scored in this game.
Of course he did.
And the one thing I can see really crystal clear in my mind's eye about this was the Atasog Bay line break.
Yeah.
Was really one of those things that makes you really angry that it's happened against your team. Because that will be in highlight reels.
Yeah.
But I think one takeaway is that we could have won this game. And like you said, it was Dan Robson coming on and really grabbing the game by the scruff that got them over the line.
I remember Archie played very, very well in this game.
I think this was
Try.
not his first proper performance, but it was one of his, coming of age moments.
Hmm.
For this. And then we saw even more. Obviously, between this and the Northampton game, obviously we had the announcement that Nige is coming in. And boom, boom, boom. Hawkins is a 12. We had that sort of realignment back in there. And going against what were Northampton? Were they English champions or Champions Cup runners up?
Champions Cup runners up.
Here we go. So, second best team in Europe going by, the Champions Cup last season at their own ground. And they were scared. Like I can remember
the scoreline doesn't reflect this game at all.
I want to say there was a moment between the Tane yellow for trying to stop Pollock from scoring. That was a big talking point, but one of the many silly yellows. And by silly yellows, I mean ones that just make no sense.
That was in an international match, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting confused. No,
this was
Tane done something in it. Surely
he did.
Yellow.
He went into the second row because Ball got knocked out in like the 5th minute, and Tane went into the second row, and then we got absolutely destroyed at the scrum.
Kem's got yellowed in this.
Yeah, Kem's got yellowed.
Oh, I remember this one now. It's where it doesn't matter what Kems was doing; he was just getting penalised.
Yeah,
which happened
a couple times.
It does, which is sad. It is sad. Yeah.
Did you not feel a little bit more positively coming out of this game?
Yeah.
In the point that, because I felt like, have we turned a corner?
Yeah, my vlog for this game was really positive. It's still up. People can go and check it out if they like. It was really upbeat.
Actually, I think a lot of it was on Nigel coming in. The talk of, okay, Hawkins will be playing 12, not 10. And then, the introduction of Jack Davis back in at 15.
Yeah.
And, because I still don't understand. There's a few things with this season that none of us understand or ever will. And, we were going great. That was a really good performance to build on. And we kind of did that against Ulster. The last game before we lost our internationals for the Six Nations. And this is probably going to be just for the Ellis me try at the end. Probably one of the better games of the season. Not that many. Probably second only to Glasgow.
I'd say Ulster was my game of the season. I was really, really happy after this one. This is the only one where I've done an instant reaction all season. John did one as well.
Yeah, that was for we both did them specific. I've remembered the elation now. I'd kind of forgotten it. I've been jaded over the rest of the season, but it was the way we won.
Yeah, the Sammy pass and stuff, and I was delighted after this game. I thought we were back.
The defense in this game was massive.
Yeah.
Didn't we hold them out for like 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think they had 20 minutes, not 22, and didn't score.
It's crazy. It was a great game. Really. No yellows in this game?
Nah, that can't be right.
Tane had one. Tane had one in this game, I think. Tane got one in the 64th minute. Team yellow. Defended on the 5 meter. Yeah.
But obviously winning it at the death always gives you much bigger emotions. It gives you
Ulster were really
memory.
good at the time as well.
Yeah. Well, they were. Well, they also they could have won the Challenge Cup if they put in that sort of performance.
At this point, we're Ulster still higher in the table than Leinster.
Maybe they were doing really well at the time. I wrote about them because I said that they had a shot at top 4, and obviously that completely fell apart.
So this is what, round 9, I want to say?
No, it'll be later than that because I think round 9 is the derbies.
It was 10, round 10.
10. So let's have a look. So Leinster were 3rd, and no, Ulster was 6th.
Oh,
okay. The week before they were 3rd, and Leinster were 5th. So yeah, going into this game, they were ahead.
Oh, so can we claim that we ruined Ulster's season because that means we achieved something? I'm happy with that.
Ulster didn't win a game in Wales this season.
Who else did they play away?
Ospreys and Cardiff.
They really had 3 of us away.
Oh, they had 3.
Well, Ospreys was in the Challenge Cup.
They didn't win.
No, sorry, Cardiff was in the Challenge Cup. Yeah, they lost away. 100%, man.
Yeah, they had. Did they have Dragons and Cardiff at home in the league?
Must have.
Trying to remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did they hammer Cardiff? Got that? It's not important, but it's in the back of my mind somewhere.
I will have a little look for you.
Of course, the Challenge Cup.
We don't need to know Cardiff results from the season.
Well, this is about Ulster results. Cardiff they happen to be there.
No, 21-14.
Much like the playoff round, they just happen to be there.
Yeah. Okay, then what was after Ulster?
Yeah, let's just keep it going. That was Fog game. That was the Fog Bowl.
Gate.
Yeah.
The iconic picture of behind Carmen Leggett Jones is lining up the conversion, and you can't see the posts.
What a game! And this was, of course, the heroic return of Billy McBride.
Yeah, it was indeed.
Yeah,
it was answering
3 minutes.
Answering the call at not even the 11th hour. It's like long gone past that. But yeah, it was. I think what was it? It was about the 55th minute when we somewhere around that point we'd taken the lead, and it was like commentators have been talking for a while. Oh, once we hit like the 60 minutes or whatever, it needed to be I think they're going to blow up for this. And then the moment we took the lead, Johnny was like sort of in the ref, come on, blow up. But no, he wanted.
I just remember Andy Brace being like when Carwin was taking that kick, and he was like, I think Andy Brace even said, "I'm not being funny, lads. I can't see the posts." And he went over to the 4th official. The 4th official convinced him to keep going. Notice the 4th official was like, lads, I can't see. And the 4th official was like, it's fine. And he was like, you think it's fine? And I think we were losing at that moment. And Johnny was like, yeah, it's fine. Keep playing. So we did, and it was a 20-all draw because, of course, it was Scarlets versus Benetton or Benetton versus Scarlets.
Notable for being Kaz's first start of the season for us.
2 try assists.
And again, tactical kicking, really, really good in this. And this is before the under 26 nation starts as well, of course.
Yeah.
So we got to see way more of that and see him come back with a lot more confidence after that break, that first break anyway. But we were all pretty excited after watching him put in this performance, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because
we were.
What was that? That was end of January, so birthday's late November, if I remember top of my head. So we're talking 18 years and 2 months old, and he put in a performance like that at 10. And you're like, just give him the shirt while Sammy's away, please. And, you know, we got to see a fair bit of good stuff from him. Obviously, you know, with any young town, we know there's gonna be mistakes. You know, that's the whole point. You know, when you're 18, you don't just walk into a professional team and just, you know, you're the finished article. So there's a few charge downs to come in games over the next few appearances. But overall, you know, attacking wise and what he offered, just so vastly outweighed the negatives. I mean, just his try assist rate is just stupid. What do you finish on, like 5 or 6? And you know, we've got 4 starts in now, which is, you know, ridiculous.
2 in Benetton, 2 in Edinburgh, 2 in Zeb. No, 1 in Zebra.
1 in Zebra.
And 1 against the Dragons. Yeah.
So, you know, when you got someone doing that, you know how you want to play it. He missed you know, that conversion against Benton that would have won the game, but obviously I don't think anyone was making that, considering you couldn't see the bastard in posts. But it was a good start. Well, a good first, you know, start for him, and it kept on going. So internationals away now, 6 Nations time. So Edinburgh first up in Edinburgh. And can I say, if you've never been to the Hive, you've done yourself a good service for there, because it doesn't matter where you sit in that ground, you cannot see a bloody thing. They're all temporary stand. There's a million pillars. You can be 5 meters away from the big screen and you still can't see the big screen. It's not for watching rugby. It is a glorified training pitch, because that is exactly what it is. But I think it was from 3 kicks, they scored 3 of their tries, which is probably what hurt them most in this game, because they really didn't offer anything in attack. They fed off a couple mistakes, and that was it. So,
which, to be fair, that's been Edinburgh's MO the entire season as well. Like that's where they've been most successful, is on turnover ball, lazy turnover ball from opposition. Yeah,
I mean, obviously you get more transition attack than you do phase structured attack, or whatever you want to call it. So I was quite surprised that we conceded it, because even when you're going through transition, also you focus on transition defense a lot. The way we conceded, it was still so soft, which kind of killed it. I think, you know, another game that could have easily been a win, and obviously this is all in hindsight. You know, I think it's the 3rd or 4th game now that should have been a win, and it would have made a massive, massive change to absolutely everyone in the squad. You know, the morale around the place, the belief. You know, it may have even influenced some, you know, some 23 selections as we went through. But yeah, we come to.
Well, just worth pointing out, this is where Joe Roberts got those 2 really, really nice tries in this game.
At 12.
Yeah.
12. First start at 12 for us, if I'm right in that.
I think he's done it before, but
I know he's done it since.
He's played there, but has he started there?
That's a good question. But then came the rearranged game and kind of killed off.
Yeah, we got smashed in this game. It was really tough to watch.
We didn't turn up. We literally didn't turn up for this game, which
Twice. We've not turned up to the game twice.
and I wish that was a joke, but it's not. It's
The weird thing about the first Conrad cancelled game is that I think that was when Cardiff played Ulster or maybe Munster, and Cardiff, they flew out the same day and they got there and we didn't.
Oh, but do you not remember? It was Munster. I
Munster.
remember it. I always remember watching that game and thinking, I think I'm glad we're not there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Didn't they get nilled in Munster? It was
No,
no.
ridiculous.
That was Ospreys last season.
Oh.
yeah. This was a close game. Cardiff got 2 bonus points out of it.
Yeah, I think it's 22-20. I think
23.
Sheedy missed all of his kicks.
23-20. So, yeah.
23-20.
So, if only they had a goal kicker like Huw and Lloyd, you know. But the corner game kind of killed everything. I mean, mathematically, okay, we still had the most outside shot of making the top 8. But
So, of course, you were saying it was a done deal.
yeah, of course it was. It was a done deal. Like, it was even a done deal before we kicked off against Dragons. You know, we were still there.
I believed.
Yeah, this killed absolutely everything, and there was just no way to come back from this. So it was just a non-existent performance to finish off the Six Nations. Then obviously we had the positive moment the following week where we had Zebra at home, and it was like, yay!
Yeah, scored a
we
couple
won
of tries.
game. We scored 5 tries, no 6. 6 tries in this game. Jared Taylor with a double.
And Max Payne got robbed to try the season.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, it was obviously a win's a win, and the season we had, you can't fault it for what it was. Just I don't look what. So we had Blair was back, Tommy Roger, Ellis Me, anyone else? Well, Captain Josh had been with us anyway, and Elias, made a fair difference, to be fair. And then obviously we went out to Leinster the following week, and I didn't think that was so much of a bad performance either. And
I thought that was a good performance.
Hawkins,
This is what I don't get about us. We seem to be like an X-1 team. Whoever we're playing, we're 10% worse than them. So if we're playing Leinster or Bulls, we're 10% worse than them. But if we're playing Dragons, we're also 10% worse than them. I don't get it. That we're able to play against good teams, Bordeaux, Northampton, and play well. But when we play against shit teams, we're even shitter. Like, what's going on?
I mean, I'm looking at the Leinster team right now. This is really close to the team that actually went out on the weekend against Bordeaux and Bilbao.
Yeah, it was a full strength team.
It was really the first half performance in this was really, really good. And I remember being disappointed that because it was at the end of the Zebra game where they took off Kaz and brought on Hawkins. And I remember thinking at the time, I don't like that. I don't like what that might mean. And obviously they were giving him minutes for this following week. But in the first half, his kicking from hand, particularly his tactical kicking, was on the money.
I think he had a good game. I think this was probably his best game for the Scarlets. For me.
Potentially.
Yeah. If not this, then when?
A game of 12.
Probably a game of 12, yeah.
You're probably talking Northampton.
No,
Sammy played Northampton.
Yeah, Northampton at 12.
Yeah, but Joe played at 12.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Northampton or Ulster, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's probably Northampton.
Bulls actually. The Bulls game.
He was good in that game as well.
Yeah, I'm more thinking of his 10 performances. But
what happens to that team that plays like that against Leinster? Where was that team for the whole rest of the season? What happened? Because that team had a plan, that team had talent, that team had tenacity, and we didn't see that for other games.
Yeah, and looking at the changes going from Leinster to Cardiff, Elias for Harry Thomas, Archer Holtz for Henry, who hasn't had the greatest of seasons. Ting back in for Dan Davis, with Taylor shifting to 7, Eddie James in at 13. So realistically, it should have been a better performance going into Cardiff. And, even though, we were 24-7 up and with a 70, whatever it was, it was still a below average performance.
The first half was dreadful from both teams. It was just terrible rugby. And then they completely collapsed. They couldn't catch a line out. It was hilarious. One of the worst line out performances I've ever seen from a team. The fact that we let them win that game just off the back of that is outrageous. But then the way that we did let them win, that's the most angry I was this season. I was just despairing again with the Dragons game. With this game, it was the one, because I remember putting in the chat, there was 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go. We were 3 scores up, and I was like, we can easily lose this. And then we did. And it's the fact that I saw it coming that really made me angry.
I think what made me more angry in this game is the fact that we were only down to 14 men. We've held teams out. We
did go to 13. We did go to 13.
Yeah, but it weren't for the full.
We were 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes at the end with 13. Because Murray was carded at 75, 76 minutes or something.
We just completely fell apart.
There's no reason we should have conceded 3 tries in that time frame. It was just absolute bullshit and bollocks.
Especially considering their line out was more of an attacking platform for us. The amount of times we stole it as well.
I mean, but then we went against the Bulls and we had the sort of bounce that Huw sort of mentioned. But there, the X-1 or whatever the hell you said. It's that's a game we could have quite easily won.
The Hawkins missed 3 conversions and we lost by
2.
2.
The Bulls do not like coming Fletchley for whatever reason.
No.
And okay, this is probably going to be remembered for the Callum Woolley 40 and his debut try when did he play for more than 40? Did he come off at half time or was it just been after?
He came off.
He did come off, yeah. Was it
Huw Jones? Jones, yeah. So Huw Jones came on for Callum Woolley, but Huw Jones has played mostly at 15. So did Blair shift to the wing?
No, I think just Huw played on the wing.
Yeah. But yeah,
Blair was very good in this game.
Well, it seems to be when, like you said, when the opposition comes in, bigger, better, we rise to the occasion. But, we don't seem to have a minimum standard where, we don't drop below. I mean, it just, this whole season just fucking hurts. And there's no way to get around that. So, yeah, then we had the Ospreys game, which we were so shockingly bad in. And they still struggled to get over the line against us. But the same can be said against Cardiff. And obviously we spoke about Dragons last week. So, yeah. Shit end of the season.
I can't figure out which game from those last 4 I was more disappointed about. Because in a way, part of me was ready to lose to the Dragons just so that because that draw against the Dragons in a couple of years will paper over these cracks of the season, I think.
What makes you say that?
I just think
not going to be as many changes now. If we had the double against the Dragons, I think they would have been a much bigger, stick up the arse of the board to be like, we need to sort this now. Whereas, okay, it's not a loss, it's not a win. It's like, okay, we carry on as we are.
14th, isn't it? It's 14th in the table as well. It's far enough away from it. Do you know there was that time when people were saying they were almost willing Wales to lose because it would get Gallen fired the second time around?
Yeah.
That's the sort of point
I think
I'm talking about.
It papers over cracks in that it means that we didn't finish as bottom Welsh region. And that does hide a story. Because the stat in years to come will just be the Dragons finished bottom Welsh region again. And we never have. So it preserves that. So it papers over cracks in that sense.
Do you disagree?
No, I agree with it in that logic. I don't think a draw with the Dragons papers over cracks in terms of like, oh, it's fooling everybody into thinking everything's fine, but it prevented a headline.
I mean, for me, it's a case of okay, a token loss to the Dragons, whatever, once a season, whatever, because it just seems to be a result that just happens, and it has happened for a good few years now. But for them to do it, because like we've always come back, we've always won the first game, or we've come back and we've been like, we're not losing to you guys again. It just that wasn't there in this game. It's that sort of attitude. Like we were lucky to get the bloody draw, for Christ's sake. This should have been a resounding loss. And that does say more about how far the Dragons still have to come. But I feel that bigger change could have come sooner if this game was a loss. And I think John kind of feels the same.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, obviously, if you had that 28-5 loss, the New Year's Day loss, obviously part of that is maybe what brings Nige in as well.
Yeah.
That. But if we finish the season with a result like that against the Dragons, I feel like what I see from a lot of people is now online and whatever is apathy towards the season and relief that it's over, rather than some frustration.
There's a lot less. We need to get this fixed more than thank God we don't have to think about that anymore.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm guilty of that as well, because part of me is like, thank God I don't have to think about this anymore. And then I force myself to think about it for a long time, but it's different.
But that's it. So we've run through the season again, worst season that's ever been. So are we settled on what our best game of the season was?
It has to be Ulster for me.
Ulster or Glasgow? I'm happy either way.
I'm taking Glasgow personally, because I just think the defensive kicking display from Sammy and from Cordor were really good in that game. I thought we really pinned them back, and I rewatched that game again, and in the same way Huw was saying, that team that played in Dublin, why didn't we see that the rest of the season? That's what I was thinking after watching that Glasgow game. Why don't we just pin them back and pin teams back and make them work?
Okay, so we'll settle on Glasgow for that one. Worst game of the season now. Obviously, Huw is dead set on New Year's Day Dragons. I mean, there's quite a few that could go in here.
No, there's nominations, but I think I have to go for the Dragons on New Year's Day, just for the complete abject nothingness of it.
So Stormers being nilled at home, Connacht for not turning up. I mean, Cardiff for just shit in the bed. I mean, there's a good few in there. So I mean,
I would take getting nilled by the Stormers at home over only scoring 5 points and conceding 28 to the Dragons in Rodney Parade. No matter the season they had, I think that's the worst game, the Dragons game.
Dragons it is. So a new category that has been invented by Sir Huw, Achav of the season. The worst moment. Always just disgusting.
So I've got 3 contenders.
Let's hear them.
The Cardiff collapse. It's the final 10 minutes against Cardiff. Dwayne Peel's face at the end of the Dragons game. Or what was the other one? Oh, I had a weird one where like I said, I completely lost my head, which was in the Poe game where we could only score with maul tries. And I just couldn't, I just completely lost it. I was like, this isn't the Scarlets that I'm watching anymore. I don't recognize this team in front of me.
Yeah.
Like I say, it was a head loss because it was irrational. So I'm not expecting people to agree with it. But it's one where I just couldn't cope anymore.
I think Dragons has to win out again.
I feel bad voting for someone's face to be the Achavi moment.
But But it's not because they are so ugly we didn't want to see them on TV. But for different reasons. For different reasons.
For much better reasons, which is we didn't want to see him on TV because we didn't want him in the coach's box. No.
Because you have to remember that other fans of opposition teams like posting it on socials going like, this man is not okay. Like the banter, it was so bad that the banter stopped. It was like, oh, this man needs help.
Yeah.
Do you know, my instinct is to go for the Cardiff collapse just because I love the alliteration. But I think that reaction to that Dragons game and Nige coming in and everything, I think is such an important point of the season that I think I could vote for Dwayne's face. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, Dwayne, to vote for your face in the
Dwayne, if you listen
vote.
to this, you really are a glutton for punishment.
Well, he's looking for advice, so please message us. We can help. We can help. So, any positives? Now, I think any positive is going to be coming down to individual players.
Yeah, definitely.
So you know,
as a collective, because if we're doing the squad review as well, as a collective, I'm not sure there is a single positive for this team.
No.
But there's positives about individual players, like you say. But as a group,
in player units, like
are we going to say the line out? Is that like really? Is that what we're going to do?
Nah.
No, I was going to say it was a good season for the back three and for the nines.
Good season for Joe Roberts.
Was it a good season for the nines? Was it? Really?
I didn't think any of our nines were poor this season. I don't think any of the problems we had were because of our nines this season.
I think
no. I mean, Cowdo, obviously, for whatever reason, we decided not to play him towards the end of the season and then just chuck him in against the Dragons.
Oh, VX3.
VX3, yes, that's a big positive. Oh, the introduction of the first time season ticket holder, the Sosban rate. You know, it was 129 to become a season ticket holder if you hadn't been one in like 3 years. That's good. That's been kept, I think, is 149 right now.
That's a really good deal.
It's what's like less than 14 quid a game. It's unreal. Plus, you get all the academy games, all the 18s and 16s in there. Who knows? You may even get you a few free friendlies if we have any.
Try it. The quality of the stand, very nice as well. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you get more than what you pay for. I mean, if you haven't been, you can pay less than 150 quid and come in and watch rugby in an actual professionally built ground.
Like you won't get wet walking from the hospitality suite to the ground because it's in the same building. Building being the operative word.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, okay, the season was really shit. Let me be salty about this. Let us be salty about this for a second. Yeah. I was thinking about when it was 32 degrees and I was cleaning weeds out of our terrace today, I was thinking to myself, my biggest regret of the entire year is that I didn't buy one of the Amahid vests that VX3 had in the store.
It's still for sale, isn't it?
I didn't see them I was on the shop the other day and I didn't see them. Are they still? If they're still there, I'm buying one as soon as this is done.
Well, Benji is he's currently international Pringle at the minute. He's in Canada.
Is he ever not on holiday, that boy?
Well, it's like I spoke to him. Like I think for the last 3 months, or certainly since Easter, he's been home for like 2 days. It's ridiculous. On the first on like 20 years a Cardiff flight to Toronto. You know, he's on. He got this little lanyard thing that said first flight to Toronto. He was loving life. He's probably, what's the time now? Oh, it's mid-afternoon.
Does his work think he's on long-term sick?
Well, let's hope. We're talking about Pringle now. We're not talking about a real person. We're talking about international Pringle.
International Pringle of mystery.
Yeah.
Oh. That's probably going to go the way of Jackalaka next season. God, that was shit. Yeah, I think that covers more or less everything, like in terms of positive. I mean, it kind of goes with VX3, but we got, shop discount for season ticket holders again. That's a great thing.
Yeah, the club shop was nice. Well done, everybody in the club shop.
Yeah.
And we got loads of player interviews, which might stop after they listen to this podcast. But we chatted to a few boys, which was good.
All the boys were good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they like to engage. They are good lads. And for a lot of them, it's especially the younger ones, it's their first time talking to anybody.
Yeah.
So we get to break them in because we don't know what we're doing and they don't know what they're doing. So it works perfect. But yeah, let's hopefully get a few more of them. Hopefully we can get one more in before the official season ends with the under-20 World Cup coming.
Are we going into squad review, or are we saving that?
That's next week.
Save out. It's been an hour. We've done
Fair enough.
hour. We've done over an hour of this now. This is hard work for anyone. So yeah, do we want to touch on anything? Maybe do you want to talk about the couple signings now, or
no? There's one more. There was one more category on the agenda.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Any positives?
Oh,
No.
one must fix.
So name one thing that you say for next season, we've got to fix this first and foremost.
Okay. I've got it, by the way, that no one can beat. Scarlets. Just fix everything. I think coaching has to be the biggest thing that he's fixing for me.
All I want for Christmas is a backup 10.
Not even locks at the minute. We're looking at Lousy, Price, and Cookson as the only ones currently senior locks signed to us.
If you give me one thing to get right now, for some reason, we're very good apparently at signing emergency locks halfway through the season. So if we get the luck that we got this season, next season with it, I don't mind. But when you have moments like in that Dragons game where Cowan comes on and we looked at a changed team so quickly, while yes, I agree with you that coaching is a problem, and there are maybe other positions that might seem more urgent, I just can't see us struggle through another season without like a experienced backup 10 there to rotate with Kaz. Because if Sammy's injured again, like if he had for us 5 games this season?
Maybe
not
5,
many. No, more than that. Ulster,
5 +
Northampton,
2?
Bristol, Glasgow. 8 games, 9 games. 8.
7 + 2.
7 games, and then his Wales game, and then on the bench. Yeah, so 7 starts. Like if that's.
He had a Wales start as well, which killed him.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? That works.
Yeah, lovely 40 minutes. Like I can't see us not do any. Like that's the POW problem as well. We can only score with more tries because we don't have a 10 playing, and I just can't go through that frustration for another 18 games, let alone Challenge Cup.
Ugh. Don't want to play Newcastle and Black Lion next season. Can we just say no, thank you?
Well, we're getting Black Lion. We know that already. Yeah.
Do you want mine?
I go for it.
Selection. I've got absolutely no idea to expect from a team sheet now. And I know that the season was done, so you could say, oh, we're rotating, giving some boys a chance, seeing what we got. But it's just I don't know what we're trying to do. It was a feature of season before last, just the Dwayne Peel. Because the season before last, the stat was that we used the fewest players but made the most changes. Just changes for no reason. I cannot understand why the selections are being made. And maybe there are reasons that we don't know behind the scenes and stuff. But if so, like, why are there so many? Why is there like 4 players a game are changed and we don't know why? Like, any kind of semblance of an idea of who our first 15 is. Even if we don't agree, just play it for like 3 games in a row, something like that.
But this was something that we said after Nige came in, that we thought that was fixed as well.
For a few games, it was. and then what was it after Zebra?
After the Six Nations, it's just completely
Yeah.
no clue.
It was after after Zebra. Oh, it's after Six Nations, after Zebra. The Leinster game, I was okay with it. I wasn't too upset with the selections for the Leinster game because I understand maybe that's what part of the problem was. They went surprisingly well.
Like
I
I've
don't
got
know.
no idea who our first choice tight head is. I
Oh,
think that
I know what first choice tight head is. He's just never bloody fit.
I think that Kems is our first choice loose head. Elias is our first choice. Okay. Lock is whoever's available and not called Jack Price is our first choice locks.
So lousy and Coxon as it stands.
Yeah. And then you got Fletch at number 8.
Kane
Obviously,
and
Captain Josh at 7. No idea at 6. Not a clue anymore.
Do
Well,
you
and
really think it's that far between, or it's that close between Taylor and Tane?
sorry, it's Tane at 6, isn't it? Sorry.
Well, Tane, to be honest, I love Fletch. Obviously, and we all think well. I don't know. Maybe we don't, but I thought he was the best player in the pack this season.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Tane looked pretty good at 8 again.
No,
This is-
Jared
this is
Taylor
what
looked pretty good at 6.
We've done this.
I said this in the chat. Don't say Tane's had a good game because it's going to give people ideas. He's not an 8.
We've done this. We did it with this
Miss-
whole thing with Fafita and with Carwin and stuff.
Look, we're
Tane's a 6.
signing another player that can cover 8. So
Yeah.
you know we're sorted. Tane is not going to be playing 8.
Who's our first choice 9?
Archie should be, but I couldn't. But I couldn't tell who.
We know our first choice 10. He's never fit.
Yeah,
Who's our first choice 12?
couldn't tell who.
Who's
I
our
think
first
it's
choice?
I think it's Eddie and Joe Roberts at our first choice centers, but I couldn't tell you right now who our first choice.
If Sammy's fit, who's our first choice 12?
No idea.
Because it's easier, I think, if Sammy's injured.
Part of me thinks that the reason
Hawkins-
that we rotate in the centre so much is just because we've got too many good ones and they're trying to keep everybody happy. And maybe they've made promises about game time and contracts and stuff. I don't know that. That's me speculating. But it's like,
this still
explain
no
it
reason.
otherwise. Just fucking pick 2 and stick with it.
Yeah, but even if it's a case of you have guaranteed game time, why are you swapping every game? Do it in bloody blocks. It makes it so much easier for everything. I mean,
Wings, Ellis, and Blair, but I don't know where Blair's first choice position is anymore. And then another.
I could again. I think you could pick a 15 from Blair, Jack, and Johan, and I think it's probably Blair, Johan, Jack, but Jack should be the first name on the list.
Yeah.
Well, you think in preference Blair Murray is the first choice 15?
I think for Puds,
I genuinely have no idea at this point.
I think Blair is Pud's first choice 15. Obviously, we'll see how the summer goes and how the first few friendlies. I say first few. We're probably only going to have 2 again, but yeah, we'll see.
Don't worry, we'll have a wonderful 15-minute warm up against RGC.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, 7.5 minutes against RGC and 7.5 minutes against Fishguard. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, yeah, we got to pay back for the Billy McBride loan, haven't we? That's the payment. Yeah.
Yeah, up in Thingy Bay.
Yeah, but we go through that 15 by there, and obviously lock dependent because we're still hoping for 1, if not 2 more signings there. But outside of that, that's a very, very, very good squad.
Well,
Capable
I mean,
of
if we
taking
say
almost
about
anyone on
our
the day.
expectations for the Scarlets every year is top Welsh region and top 8 in the URC. That's our expectation every season. And if we don't achieve that, it's a failure.
And if we get decent coaches, I wouldn't expect it, but I would like to see us try to push to try and break top 4. I wouldn't expect it, but I'd like to see us push for it. But top 8 has to be a minimum every year.
Because we play the Welsh sides twice, which is an advantage that no one else has.
Well, Glasgow really has the same advantage.
Yeah,
and 3 other Welsh sides. Just putting it out there.
Well, yeah, that's what you know what I mean. So, it's not like the Irish teams who have to play each other, or the South Africans have to play each other. It's easier. We've got it easier.
We do.
So yeah, so that's my one. It's just pick a team and stick with it.
Which comes down to coaches.
Like we're supposed to have this thing of how we have such a small squad, and yet we managed to
Bullshit.
make like 8 changes a game. What's going on?
Well, let me. I'll have a quick gander here because I've almost got it in the right area. Obviously, this does include academy players, but right now we've got 60 players. That's without any. That's without Cullen Grace, Alex Groves, the guys who were expected to sign for us. Another 10. So we could well have a squad of what would it be just over 40 senior players and then 23 or around 20 junior academy players. So this isn't a small squad. It's not big. It's borderline okay.
No, it's not Leinster numbers, but very few teams are reaching that point.
Yeah.
I would have thought that's close to average for the league. So
I'd say it's a little. I'd say it's a little bit under, but it's okay.
I mean,
You
how
know,
different is our squad from Ulster's squad, for example? How much of a gap is there? And I'm okay
how
with saying that Ulster are better. That's fine. But how big is the gap really on paper?
on paper, I don't think there is a gap because if we're playing on paper, then we win most of our games, especially when you add in the home factor. So, meh. Unfortunately,
I,
things are not one on paper.
do do you guys think that we really have that much of a do you think we're lacking personnel? Like we have the numbers there, yes. Is the quality in the squad?
The thing is that a lot of our players, I've seen them play well. Every single player, and if I named what I thought was our first choice 15, I've seen every single one of them play very well against very good opposition. The thing is that players come to the Scarlets. How many players get better at the Scarlets at the moment?
If we're not including academy players, the answer is 0.
Well,
So that's it.
I would say there are a couple, but one of them has just left to go and play in the Japanese league. So
Just look, take Manas as an example. By last season, he was absolutely outstanding. He was miles ahead of Elias.
Got into the
This
Springbok
year,
squad.
this year, meh. He's done his job. He's done really well. I'm not gonna, but he's nothing compared to last season. Last year
Alex
he was,
Craig,
yeah,
the same. You could say
like
Blair Murray, arguably, as well. Although, Wales nonsense happens there.
I think Ellis is more or less the same player that
Yeah,
we had.
yeah.
I mean, Joe
Henry
Hawkins,
Thomas.
Henry Thomas has. I don't know what's happened this year, but his scrummaging has just
I think he's been injured.
deteriorated.
I don't think he's been fit.
Well, that's why he didn't go on the summer tour, if you can remember, right?
I don't think he was fit for the start of the season, but they played him anyway. Alec Hepburn.
For Alec Hepburn, and like, don't get me wrong, I love Josh Morse, but for Alec Hepburn to be an international, going up to play for a club he wants to be international for, to be behind a 21-year-old Lucid, no matter how much potential the kid has got, that's just ridiculous. It's just wrong.
well, does this all end up tying in if we're saying that we're noticing players are dropping off after they've played for us for a season?
It's a massive trend. A very good first season and a terrible second season, or not terrible. Sorry, that's harsh.
Doesn't get better.
But how
a so-so second season.
But how much of this might be down to our bizarre carousel tombola selection policy? How much competition is actually happening behind the scenes for places? How much is it that players are getting rotated out?
Well, it can't be that much competition because they're not performing when they're coming on.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? If they don't feel like they're competing for their spots, and if it's basically like, okay, look, Archer Holtz is fit, for example, and if Archer Holtz is fit, he starts, and if he's not fit, then we're rotating players around. Like, is that part of it? Are the injuries aside that maybe players like Henry Thomas are dropping off?
Well,
So you look at someone like Ben Tamifuna for Bordeaux, who's arguably their best tight head, but he can't play more than 30 minutes, so they don't start him. So if Archer Holtz is our best scrummager, you're on the bench, lad. Sorry.
I mean, tight head is really, really awkward because, if it wasn't for that injury to Hawk, I don't think we sign one of Holtz or Henry. I really don't believe that happens because his trajectory and the way he was playing pre-injury, he was going on to he was going to be a very, very good tight end. Like he was literally on the verge of basically selling Archie Griffin and whoever else was trying to get that 3 straight for Wales down the river. But he's just not recovered. And he's dropped into the SRC for a couple of games, destroyed everyone there, as of course he should. He's come back into the URC and he's just not happening. So the tight end is such a problem because Henry's not doing it this season. I hope he gets fit for next year because obviously he's not leaving. But I'm at the point we're going, let's start blooding Gabe Hawley. And I think we should be. That as far as tight end goes, like you said, Holtz needs to be in the 23 no matter what if he's fit, and then I think we just persevere with Gabe and try and bring him through, whether it's 3 games on, 1 game off, whatever way you want to do it. But it's a serious problem, and we need to try and fix it. But that goes across most positions because I think we need to bring. I don't know whether it be a coach or whatever, but we need to bring someone in for discipline and talking with refs because the amount of scrummaging penalties we give away when we're not doing anything illegal is ridiculous. Like you could probably put about 70% of Kev's penalties from the scrum as being an incorrect decision.
I'm sure if you asked Kems that he would agree. And I've spoken to him 3-4 times, and I'm pretty sure that is what he would say.
But it's little thing. Obviously, we got wider problems to deal with first. We got to get a coaching team in place. We've got to get a squad ethos actually running through and
I'm just remembering how I have defended Dwayne Peel many a time, saying, "Okay, he's not this, he's not that, but he's a good attack coach." In the last few games of the season, our attack was just non-existent. And I'm watching it like, what the... Because, again, it comes back to the thing of, I have seen you do it. These players, this team coached by these coaches, I have seen you be good. Why are you not being good now? I don't know the reason.
But, like, whether it was last week, the week before, wherever it was, it feels like Nigel's not there and Dwayne's back in charge again, which would go hand in hand with the attack falling to shit because Dwayne's not doing it. So when you don't know where to point the blame, and there is a lot of blame to be pointed. So I can remember Nigel's first coming in and a lot of talk about taking accountability, responsibility, blah blah blah. But I haven't seen that for this last block of games. Where was it for that Cardiff collapse? Where was it for the what should have been a Bulls win for basically not turning up for the Ospreys or Dragons? It's a hard job being a Scarlets fan this year.
Do you think you guys would feel any different if, because when we did go down to Connacht, or maybe it was the Edinburgh game, I remember us saying afterwards, look, season's gone. Let's use this now as an opportunity to build for next season. These games are basically friendlies, blood players, start Kaz, and we didn't do that. We kept trying to play, or at least seemingly trying to play, if not our best 15, then apart from the Leinster game, mostly our best 15. And Hawkins at 10. Do you think, had we stuck to our guns and worked to bring players through, we'd feel different at this point? We probably wouldn't have won
100%. 100%. We could have. I think we would have lost every game. I don't think we would have been in a position okay, I can't say that to be true. We probably would have won the Cardiff game. I don't think we would have been in a position to win against the Bulls or Ospreys just because of who they are. Dragons, I really don't know. But if you could honestly say that we had, let's say, 4 youngsters in the starting 15 and another 2 or 3 on the bench, I'm saying, okay, this is what we're doing. These are boys.
As long as
we
they
won't
came
use
off the
next
bench.
season. Yeah, that's like obviously Ocean Williams didn't come off the bench. How many times did Harry Thomas not come off the bench this year?
Archie's back to not coming off the bench. What's going? Why? I don't. Again, I worry sometimes that I hammer players, and it's not fair to hammer them. I know I've had a go at Johnny Williams a couple of times. I know we've probably had criticised Joe Hawkins maybe more than is fair, and I don't want to hammer Dane Blacker for no reason. But why is Dane Blacker playing full 80s for us? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't make sense to anybody.
Unless there's something we don't know. But again, it's how can there be this much? Because we're giving a lot of benefit of the doubt there. We're giving saying that for multiple players, there's something going on that we don't know about, which means they're not getting on the field. And that just feels unlikely.
But it just because this is a big problem for the last few games, and it's exactly in the start of the season. We knew last year at the end of last season that Harry Thomas was going to be our third choice hooker. So start of this season, why would we loan someone in and play them ahead of him? Like, where is the benefit in that? And obviously, I know it's going to be different this coming season now because we actually seem to have done a bit of decent recruiting there. But it doesn't make sense. The year that Archie was going to be the first year we knew he was going to be our second choice 9. Why weren't we playing him towards the end of the season before just to give him minutes? Same with Sam O'Connor coming into this season, and I think the season before he was going to be our third choice loose head. He's barely played any rugby. Whether or not we think these boys are good enough, whether or not they have the potential to be good enough, they are the ones we've got. Give them the best possible chance to play the best possible rugby they can, and we're not doing that.
Off the top of your head, how many games do you think across competitions Archie started for us this season?
Started 6.
Yeah, I was going to say 5.
You're very good. He started 6. He started against the Lions. He started Poe, Northampton, Ulster, Edinburgh, and Zebra. Like some of those games.
Read those again.
Lions, Poe, Northampton, Ulster, Edinburgh, Zebra.
That's a majority of our better performances.
There you go.
And he came off the bench against Leinster as well and had a very good impact.
Yeah, 33 minutes in, 14 minutes off the bench in. He had 33 minutes against Leinster. Yeah, just I don't get it. Looking at his minute share, he didn't even come off the bench. Oh no, it was Dane coming off the bench for. Sorry, no, Dane started against Dragons and Cordor came off the bench, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really felt like after that middle block that we had established Archie as that starting 9. But
I mean, I'm looking at Archie by year, and he started 6. He's had 10 bench appearances. It might say more because obviously it doesn't includes the bloody ones he doesn't come off on. Like 534 minutes for what is essentially should be our first choice 9.
It's less than 780s.
And 4 of those bench appearances are for less than 10 minutes.
And obviously Dane is apparently preferred above him. He's 7 starts, 11 sub, but he's only played 612. So, you're talking less than 100 minutes between those two. And then where's Cowdo? There he is. He's played 600. So we've literally split it evenly between the 3, which I don't mind I don't mind appearances being split, but in terms of minutes, our first choice 9 needs to be played on the field for the most amount of time.
Think about the positions that we're talking about. Like hooker, we've ended up at the end of the season with Elias being back established as first choice. But then we don't really know what's going on behind him. Talking about the spine of the team. Number 8 was Fletcher Anderson. He joined mid-season. Then 9, we've got no idea. 10, our first choice 10 is always injured. Our second best 10 is a school child. And our third, the 10 that's played the majority of games, is still learning how to play the position, shall we say. The centres, the position where cohesion is most important on the field is between the centres, and it's an absolute tombola. We've got no idea who's going to get picked one week to another, and then 15 is the same. Absolutely no idea what's going on. So is there any surprise that we've had such a bad season? When you go down the spine of our team,
And that doesn't
we've
even
got no
mention
idea
Fox.
what's going on.
Well, we found the short form video clip from this episode. We can just clip that up and put that out. I think that'll do the job.
All right,
You're
then,
right.
boys.
Once you lay it out like that, it's so obvious. It's so apparent. There are other positions there where I feel outside of the spine where I feel a lot more comfortable with our selection. But yeah, 2, 8, 9, 10 centers, 15 could be anyone starting outside of Elias.
But then Captain Josh is injured half the time. We've got no locks. It's not feeling like such a mystery anymore.
And it's not as though you can say, a coach has only been here for one season and he's building. He's been here, 5 years now? It's like, how can you have a team this bare? And yes, I know you're going to say, the budget's not there, there's the funding, blah, blah, blah. Everyone else, the other three regions are in the exact same boat. We know what we're going to be dealing with.
And
Why are we not even looking?
There's no underlying reason why Cardiff should have been able to get 6th and we're 14th.
it's not a budget problem. Like the budget is a problem, but our problem, like we've been saying this whole time, is consistency and consistency in selection and consistency in performance. And those are not necessarily budgetary issues.
Like, even if it was a case of we could have 35 top end players, as in, Champions Cup level quality on good wages, and there's still budget for another 10, 15 players. It's just how you maneuver it around. Because I know what was like 5.2 million plus 2 marquee. I mean, when average players, as in average squad rotation players, are on around 70 to 80, it is baffling. Like, if you want a squad of 50, 60, yeah, I 100% understand that. But for what we're dealing with, the quality should be a lot better. And then we see players go off, like players like, I know he's not ours, but someone like James Fender, who is the URC European quality, probably unlucky to not have made a Wales camp or two in the past, go off to a Pro Day do. And like, well, surely the lure of a decent contract year and potentially playing international rugby would be enough. But
yeah,
and it goes the same for quite a few players.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Right then, boys. We've been over an hour and a half. We've dragged this on too long. If you've listened this far, I'm so sorry. If your ears are bleeding, I apologize.
Do we not have anything uplifting to say to finish it off with?
I said VX3 was good.
We can't be worse than this.
Oh, Mart.
That's the only form of, and if we are worse than this, then just set the park on fire.
The Dragons are so happy with their season.
Let them be happy. They can eat their cake. They can be happy, and then blah. I don't care what they do as long as we beat them twice a year. Let them do what they want.
As long as we haven't. Well, no, okay.
I don't care. I don't care what Dragons do. I don't care what Cardiff or Ospreys do. I care what the team bloody who's playing in the European final, who's playing in the URC final. Those are the teams I care about, and that's the standard I think we should be holding ourselves to. Whether or not we can get there or not is a different question. But what we should be trying to do is get in there. Not concerning ourselves with being the best Welsh side. Let's be the best side in the league for 18 games and then work on the knockouts or whatever way around you want to do it. Frustrated. Okay, like, share, subscribe. Thanks, boys. Let's end this on a neutral note. Bye.
Beep.
Bye.